It's 1 p.m. here in Harare, Zimbabwe's capital. Welcome to ZTN News Blitz. Our top stories. Zimbabwe schools open as teachers decide on strike. Harare, Beijing take stock of relations. Retired Pope defends necessity of clerical celibacy. And in sports, Chatara ruled out of Sri Lanka test. Now, as Zimbabwe's 2021 schooling term begins tomorrow, government and its workers are still to find each other after a deadlock over a proposed salary increment. Workers, especially teachers, say inflation has wiped out their earnings and they want salaries indexed to the United States dollar. Last week, they rejected a 100% salary increment from government. The government is worried but hopeful a deal will be struck. Finance and Economic Development Minister Professor Mthuli Ncube speaks.
When you negotiate, there will always be disagreement. That's normal. But we as employers were committed to making sure that there's a decent salary for civil servants. We appreciate the work that they do and also want to honor that by this cushioning allowance. So it is our expectation that in the next few weeks we should come to some agreement.
Meanwhile, learners at boarding schools today left for the first term with parents mourning the high cost of living in the country. Some errant schools unilaterally raised school fees without government approval, while government ordered a freeze on tuition fees hikes.
Tikaenda kumashops chaiko taimbotikaenda downtown zvinhu zvaimbotичipira but yezvino zvinhu zviri kudhura. You find kuti takatenga mazoekurash $50. It's not easy. Isi ataimbotenga $2 $3 namanje. Ipapo ngapagadziriswe.
Zvinhu zvakaoma tiri kunyepa. Zvinhu zvinotimira zvakanaka. But unotozongova variro kuti zvinhu zviita sei? Zviite mwana adzokere kuchikoro.
Things have not been easy. I went through a lot, but we thank God takwanisa kuti mwana wangu manage kuenda kuchikoro. Kutendo Mwari, but dai hurumende yanga yapindira, especially panyaya yemafees.
President Emerson Mnangagwa says visiting Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is happy with Zimbabwe's relations with China. In 2018, the relations were elevated to comprehensive partnership after decades of only being all-weather friends. Emerging from a closed-door meeting with the Chinese envoy this morning, President Mnangagwa said both countries are pleased with their relations so far and they can only be further deepened.
It's very happy that occasion to go over our relations between the people of China and Zimbabwe on all issues, and he goes back home satisfied that our relations are on a solid foundation. What remains is further consolidation and deepening those relations, both political and economic.
Retired Pope Benedict XVI has broken his silence to defend the necessity of priestly celibacy by co-authoring a book as Pope Francis considers whether or not to allow married men to be ordained as Catholic priests. Pope Francis is expected to weigh in on the argument this year to address a priest shortage on the Amazon, where followers can go without communion for months. Benedict's intervention is extraordinary, given he had promised to remain hidden from the world when he retired in 2013 and pledged his obedience to the new Pope. In sport this afternoon, Zimbabwe fast bowler Tendai Chatara is set to miss Sri Lanka's tour after failing to recover from a bicep injury picked up in the Logan Cup. Chatara has since pulled out of camp but is expected to return in time for the tour of Bangladesh in February. Meanwhile, Zimbabwe cricket coach Lalchad Rajput believes young players will create a good foundation for the team. 9 uncapped players were named in the provisional squad to face Sri Lanka starting on January 19.
Now that the under-19 team is going for the World Cup, we'll get some players, and there are some fantastic players at the under-19 level. And I feel that these are the players who are your future players for the national team. So we've got to balance that. We've got to have seniors as well as juniors in. And there has to be a good balance. And if you have a good balance, I think your national team is strong then.
Now, should Zimbabwe international Marvelous Nakamba play ahead of English midfielder Danny Drinkwater or Brazilian Douglas Luiz at Aston Villa? That has been a big debate on social media after Nakamba was left out of the starting team against a ruthless Manchester City that scored 6 at Villa Park on Sunday. Nakamba was only introduced in the 65th minute for Luiz when the game was already done and dusted. Well, that's all we had for you on ZTN News Blitz. Join us again at 4 p.m. For more news, visit ztn.co.zw and our other social media platforms. Thank you for watching.